Nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows my sorrow. So, hi folks. Today is Friday in my world, but I just came across this story, and you won't be seeing this video until Sunday. I wanted to get it recorded while I remember. Uh, there's a jail. I believe it's a county jail. They call it the Hinds County Penal Farm in Mississippi, where they found about 672 unmarked graves. Well, barely marked, I should say. There's no headstones or anything. They have metal rods with numbers on them. No names, anything like that. Now, I know what your first impression probably is. You're thinking like me, this is the kind of thing that we've seen in movies. You know, something hinky going on in the jail, and they're burying the people there now. They call it a pauper's field. Kind of like, they're doing these people a favor because they can't afford to be buried elsewhere. But like I said, right off you assume these are all prisoners that died. But this is the part that gets you. And first of all, that would be wrong anyway, because families weren't informed of these people dying. And here's the one. Here's the one that sort of broke this all open. If I could find the you know what? Yeah. Betterston Wade. This is from 2023, by the way. This isn't something from the 1800s. She spent 7 months searching for her son Dexter before discovering he had been killed and buried. And again, I know what you're thinking. He was stabbed in jail, right? Or the guards beat him and covered it up. This is worse than that. He was walking down the road and got hit by a police car and died. And the police left him in the morgue unidentified, even though he was carrying ID with him. But they never tried to inform his family. His mother, even after he'd been missing for a couple of days, she made a missing person report. She called the police station, which she said was hard to do because in 2019, the local cops killed her 62-year-old brother when they slammed him to the ground. But so she doesn't much trust the local cops, and gee, I wonder why. Maybe the brother was accidental. The police investigated themselves and decided they did nothing wrong. But now they've also killed her son, her 37-year-old son, minding his own business and hit by a police car. And so they left him unclaimed in the morgue. And then they went and buried him in this, pauper's field. So, See, now the story I saw is different from the one I'm looking at. So, but they said what happened then was a different investigator took over the case with this lady looking for her son, and he's the one that discovered that the guy had been buried there. And they since now I've seen two different things. The one article said 215 bodies found, and this one says, what was it, 672? Okay, I see here it says 672 bodies. There is a list of 215 burials spanning from 2016 to 2023. So this is all recent stuff. And here's let's add insult to injury. So they buried all these guys there. They didn't tell the families. And now that the families are finding out, they are charging them $250 to recover the bodies. You know, I know this is Mississippi, but still, aren't they sort of partly in America? This stuff goes on, and nobody's done anything about it. And what kind, you know, Corrigan, if you're watching, a couple of days ago you shared the thing that said, you know, what was it, Honor the Blue Day or whatever it was, you know, let's support our police. And underneath I put the initials where I basically quoted NWA. People can figure out what that means, because I try not to use that language much on these. But this is why these cops are out there. And I know people say, oh, it's not all cops and that there's good cops. But until the good cops start doing something about the bad cops, as far as I'm concerned, they're all bad. Just think of this, 672 graves. All those families, you know, 672 families. How many people is that? You got parents, you got kids, you got brothers, you got sisters, you got friends. They didn't even know that the people were dead. And, you know, sure, maybe some of them were legitimately paupers and they buried on the county dime because but I'm sure a lot of these, the families would have, you know, received the bodies and given them Here's the other thing. I didn't see it here, but it might be in here. But on the other article I saw, the well, in fact, yeah, I know it's not in here because there was a guy called Slinky Bob or something like that who was they called him an activist. He was saying how disgusting the place is because there's buzzards flying overhead because of the stench, because not only were these unmarked graves, but the bodies were not embalmed or put in caskets. They just had convicts dig holes and toss the bodies in. Man, this is going on, folks. So, hey, don't trust me. Look it up yourself. Now this isn't from some crazy, this is from, the one I'm reading is from Scripps. I know I saw another one from NPR, but it was a transcript of a interview with the mother of that guy, and it's a lot harder to go from a transcript because it was like, you know, I understand, ma'am, that this happened, and yes, this, you know, but I saw there was a bunch of article, so this isn't just like some crazy internet thing. In fact, this one here says information came to light after an investigation by NBC News. So, anyway, I just had to share this, and this is why over the last few years I have started to scoff at all this back to blue bull. Notice I stopped myself from saying the word after that. And I'll tell you this right now, I absolutely detest that blue line flag because, for one thing, it's flag desecration. And for another thing, it's just another sign of cops saying, you know, us and them. You know, what is wrong with just having the American flag? I was watching one video, a guy was at a military base filming, and they came outside and tried to stop him, even though he was in public. And the MP had one of those blue line flags on his uniform. Anyway, that's off the subject. This 672 bodies, 250 burials in the last 7 years. Families were not informed. The bodies weren't properly taken care of. It wasn't a proper burial. You can bet they didn't have, well, it doesn't say anything, so, but let's, instead of saying I assume, let's just say I wouldn't be surprised to find out that there was no preacher or anything like that for people that would want that. Anyway, so this video will be coming out on Sunday. Happy Sunday, folks. This is just another service of Muckster News for you. Peace out.